Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. You wake up tomorrow with more energy, a stronger heart, a clearer mind, not because you did something extreme, but because you finally stayed consistent with something simple. No crazy routines, no burnout, just discipline. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, because what you're about to hear might completely change how you think about fitness, health, and long-term success. We live in a world right now where everything has to be intense, extreme workouts. No days off. Push until you collapse. That's what gets attention. That's what gets views. But what if the real secret isn't intensity? What if it's consistency? That's exactly what I wanted to find out. So I tried something different. No brutal workouts, no killing myself in the gym, just one simple rule: train in zone 2 for 30 days. Now, before you think this is just another fitness trend, hear me out, because what I discovered wasn't just about cardio. It was about how people approach growth, discipline, and consistency in every area of life. Zone 2 is simple. It's that level where your heart rate is elevated, but you're not dying. You can still talk, but you feel it. You're working, but you're in control. And that's exactly why it feels wrong to most people. Because we've been trained to believe that if it's not intense, it's not effective. Day 1 hit different. Not because it was physically hard, but because it was mentally frustrating. I had to slow down a lot. Every instinct in me was screaming, go faster, push harder, do more. But I had to hold myself back. And that's when I realized something powerful. Most people don't struggle with working hard, they struggle with working smart. Because going hard feels productive, even when it's not sustainable. But slowing down, that requires discipline. So I started small, just 10 minutes a day, no pressure, no crazy goals, just showing up. And at first, it felt like nothing, like I wasn't doing enough, like I was wasting time. But that's the trap, because we've been conditioned to chase intensity instead of consistency. And here's the truth: consistency will always beat intensity if intensity can't be sustained. As the days went on, I started noticing something. Not some insane transformation, not overnight results, but a shift. It started getting easier to show up. The resistance in my mind got quieter. And that's when I understood. This wasn't about cardio anymore. This was about building a habit. But then I started digging deeper, because everywhere I looked, people were hyping Zone 2 like it's the ultimate answer. This is the key to living longer. This is the foundation of health. This is what elite athletes do. And I had to question it, because here's something most people don't talk about: that just because something works for elite athletes doesn't mean it's optimal for you. Think about it. These athletes train 15, 20, sometimes 25 hours a week. You're trying to squeeze in 2-3 hours between work, family, responsibilities, stress. That's a completely different reality. So chasing their strategy without their lifestyle doesn't make sense. And that's where people go wrong. They don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they're copying systems that don't fit their life. And that's when it clicked for me. It's not about finding the perfect method. It's about finding what you can actually stick to. Because the best workout in the world means nothing if you don't do it consistently. So I adjusted. Running outside, too many distractions, stops, turns, interruptions, excuses. So I simplified everything, brought it indoors, controlled the environment, removed friction, and suddenly consistency became easier. Not because I became more motivated, but because I made it harder to fail. And this right here applies to everything in life. If something feels hard to stay consistent with, don't blame yourself. Fix the system. As the weeks went on, I increased the time, 20 minutes, then 30, then 45, and I'm not going to lie to you, It wasn't always enjoyable. There were days my legs were burning, days I didn't feel like doing anything, days where even starting felt like a battle. But I kept going, not because I felt motivated, but because I made a decision. And that's the difference between people who succeed and people who keep starting over. One relies on feelings, the other relies on commitment. By the middle of this journey, something interesting happened. It started to feel normal, not exciting, not fun, but normal. And that's when you know you're changing, because real growth doesn't feel like motivation, Rio. It feels like routine. And here's something even more important. I didn't suddenly become a different person. I didn't wake up with insane energy. I didn't see some crazy transformation overnight. But I built something more valuable than that. Discipline. The ability to show up even when I didn't feel like it. And that's where most people fail. They expect instant results. And when they don't get it, they quit. But success doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from what you repeat daily. By the end of this challenge, I didn't hit perfection. I missed days. I struggled with consistency at times. Life got in the way. But I still did more cardio than I had done in years combined. And that's the real win. Not perfection, progress. Because perfection will keep you stuck, but progress will move you forward. And here's the biggest lesson I learned from all of this. 30 days isn't enough to change your life, but it's enough to change your direction. It's enough to build awareness, enough to create momentum, enough to prove to yourself that you can actually follow through. And once you have that, everything changes. So if you're watching this right now, overthinking everything, waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect motivation, let me tell you something you need to hear. It doesn't exist. There is no perfect plan. There is no perfect time. There is only what you decide to do today. So stop chasing perfect and start showing up. Even if it's small, even if it feels slow, even if it feels like it's not enough, because those small actions, repeated daily, that's what builds a different life. And if you've made it this far, comment consistency below and commit to one simple habit you're going to start today, because talking about it won't change your life. Action will. And share this with someone who keeps waiting for the right moment. Because the truth is, that moment, it's already here.